What's up everyone, it's ENDYMION, and oh boy are we starting off 2024 with some unhinged nonsense already. There's a lot to go over, from the new Star Wars movie going Super Saiyan levels of feminism, and Crunchyroll's female director attacking fans and barking gender nonsense as a shield against criticism. First, let's start with Star Wars with this article titled, Upcoming Rey Solo film director Charmin Oboy-Chinoy says it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story of Star Wars. I don't need to tell you that Disney has been bleeding money from every hole, but this story has gotten massive attention from all corners of the internet. And it proves that Disney, or I guess more specifically Lucasfilm gravedigger Kathleen Kennedy, is hellbent on realizing her Force is female future no matter the cost. This news story has reached everywhere, and it's basically Disney just whipping out its feminist Arby's roast beef sandwich from between its legs and going, "We are women, and we are not going anywhere." While this may sound defiant and yas queen slay to some, this movie will become a massive bomb, mark my words. There is no way a movie starring Rey Palpatine pushing feminism is going to rake in anywhere near $1 billion these days. If the Marvels taught us anything, it's that times can definitely change the outlook and appeal of characters and brands. And this upcoming Star Wars flick is undoubtedly going to become everything wrong with not just modern Disney, but entertainment in general. I figured we'd listen a little to what this woke feminist director has to say, so here's a clip.
Also the first woman and the first person of color to direct a Star Wars film. It's set to be released in 2026. You can say that the force is strong with this one. Here's Charmin Oboy-Chinoy.
You know, I'm very thrilled about the project because I think what we are about to create is something very special. And we're in 2024 now. And I think it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away.
What's funny is that when she says it's time for a woman to shape Star Wars, it proves already that Chinoy nor Kathleen Kennedy have any idea what they're talking about. The original Star Wars trilogy was edited by Marcia Lucas. All those unique transitions and the movies you loved were shaped from a conceptual stage to the final product by the hands of a woman. Let's not forget the myriad of other women that have also made things in Star Wars. Remember that Bryce Dallas Howard has directed The Mandalorian, Deborah Chow did Obi-Wan, which sucked ass, but I mean, I guess that's another woman doing Star Wars, so the point still stands. Not to mention, your upcoming arcane-inspired Star Wars The Acolyte is being written and conceived by Leslie Headland, who never shuts up about how gay she is. And let's also remember that Disney Star Wars has all but starred nothing but strong female characters in leading roles. I think one of the only projects made during the Disney Star Wars era to not star a woman is the Jedi games with Cal Kestis, which to this day, I have no idea how Respawn convinced Disney to let them make a game starring a strong white straight male character. Maybe someone at Respawn knows where bodies are buried, otherwise I have no clue how it came to be. And funny enough, out of pretty much the entirety of Disney Star Wars products, the Jedi games are some of the only things fans universally seem to enjoy and actually accept. I would wager because it has strong male and female characters and doesn't pander too much. But of course, some weird woke weirdo will say it's cause it stars a man and we're all sexist. So who knows, you can't win with these people anyway. The point is that Chinoy's statements make absolutely no sense and they have no basis in any form. She is not the first woman to have a role or guidance in shaping Star Wars. She's just another woke activist with powerful friends that gets opportunities because she checks all the right boxes. I mean, here's Chinoy at an event where they celebrate all things women, and just listen to how she speaks.
What is the balance of activating a force for change, but also trying to permeate that patriarchy, that power structure? And is that a part of the calculation of your art as well? And what's been the reaction to that?
Oh, absolutely. I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable. Not you, just not you. Not you.
Point taken, point taken.
But, you know, it is important to be able to look into the eyes of a man and say, I am here, and recognize that. And recognize that I am working to bring something that makes you uncomfortable, and it should make you uncomfortable because you need to change your attitude. And it's only when you're uncomfortable, when you're shifty, when you have to have difficult conversations, that you will perhaps look at yourself in the mirror and not like the reflection, and then say, maybe there is something wrong with the way I think, or maybe there is something wrong with the way I am addressing this issue.
It's also hilarious because in that clip, beside Shinoy is Ava DuVernay, another woke activist who does nothing but fails upwards constantly. Ava has made slop like Naomi on CW and movies that nobody has watched, like A Wrinkle in Time. These two women specifically are the epitome of the concept of failing upwards. Remember that Shinoy's only other Disney-related thing she's directed or had a hand in was Miss Marvel, which, if you look at the statistics, Miss Marvel was the least watched Marvel show on Disney+. And that character then went on to star in the biggest MCU bomb in history. Well, so far anyway. Most of her work is in documentaries, and she's never helmed a project that has hundreds of millions of dollars behind it. Which, of course, you could say a ton of Disney Marvel movies were done the same way too. I mean, the Russo brothers, who did Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, they came from a background of comedy working in stuff like Community and Arrested Development, but we also know that this doesn't always work. Since the Marvels director Nia DaCosta also came from an indie background and made a massive flop for Disney. And I'm inclined to believe that Shinoy will be more so in the DaCosta camp than the Russo's brothers instead. Why, do you ask? Is it cause she's a woman of color, you white-skinned bigot? What are you, a hater of women? First of all, I'm a straight man. Therefore, I'm basically a lesbian, so technically all I love is women, so to rebuttal that claim, no. I don't think it's going to suck cause Shinoy is a woman. However, based on everything she said and the legacy of what's happened prior and since, nothing fills me with hope or joy for this upcoming project. Whether you try to convince yourself that this will be amazing, you need to come to the realization that this film will star Rey Palpatine, and she is undoubtedly the prototype messiah of concepts like Mary Sue and the MCU. Kathleen Kennedy somehow is still running Lucasfilm and is shepherding this film and fast-tracking it into production. And remember that KK hasn't ruined just Star Wars. She has effectively destroyed every single Lucasfilm brand consecutively. Willow got cooked, and now it doesn't even exist anymore. They just threw that sucker into the Shadow Realm and got a tax write-off on it. Indiana Jones and the Diaper of Dysentery lost hundreds of millions and ruined the legacy of that character, which was also produced and ran by KK. And of course, there's your newest Star Wars trilogy, which has morphed the entire franchise into a series of nonsensical woke feminist charged pieces of media that nobody cares about. Ahsoka managed to get views somewhere within the realms of Andor, which is terrible. And then you have Dave Filoni as well, proving that he's also lost the plot and should probably have left the series behind years ago, since his stuff is also feminist slop that fans don't care about either. So what we have here is a bunch of culturally out-of-touch DEI-infused woke weirdos refusing to let go of the steering wheel. And they're all hell-bent on making something work that has been rejected countless times already. And remember, the synopsis of this episode 10 already leaked, and we know that it'll be about Rey training these pair of twins. And the girl twin ends up being better than the boy, because of course she is, and becomes the next Mary Sue to take Rey's place. And the boy will join the dark side and become evil because the patriarchy and men are awful, and all men need to be erased from the planet because women are superior apparently. It's just so tiring, dude. Nobody wants this movie at all. Their best bet on episode 10 would be to just reject the entire galaxy, move to another one, and start fresh with no connection or characters from previous installments. But we all know that a lot of these modern creators, especially on the Western side, are not only morally bankrupt, but creatively too. And they don't have it in them to come up with new ideas anyway. So they'll just fill the movie with more stormtroopers, they'll put a Sith in it, some more strong women of color, and all the other nonsense Disney Star Wars has been accustomed to. I know you can't see me right now, but I am literally typing this with my eyes closed because just the thought of this movie existing makes me want to drink a whole bottle of NyQuil and go Betty Buys into Sleepland, because I'm so goddamn tired of these people and the bastardization of Star Wars. There's really nothing more to be said. This movie will be certified slop of the highest caliber. It'll flop, KK will run damage control, and Shinoy will eventually say, well, the movie didn't do well because all the fans are racist, and the cycle will just continue. And now, let's look at another woman in power who seems to be just as hell-bent as Kathleen Kennedy in ruining everything we love. So let's mosey over to the land of Japanese content. Our beloved Japan, home to some of the greatest stories and our bastion of anti-woke content. But like Kathleen Kennedy, Crunchyroll, which is basically the de facto streaming service for everything anime internationally, they have their own Kathleen Kennedy in their midst. Meet Jamie Marchi, the ADR director at Crunchyroll, which if you don't know what that is, that means Jamie here is in charge of English dubs when it comes to the translation of Japanese anime. She has the final say on translations across Crunchyroll, as well as gets unlimited access to run her fingers through any project that she can get her hands on, and has openly admitted to rewriting lines to fit her agenda. Like here, where she said this on Twitter. Just remember, if there are any line changes on any anime, any script, anything ever that offends anyone who unironically uses terms like SJW and feminist agenda, I wrote them. I wrote them all. Jamie has also responded to a lot of criticism thrown her way by saying that she has a vagina, like here, where she responds to a fan by saying, "Because men do not get attacked like I do. The director of the show is a man, the producer, the head writer, yet I'm the only one attacked. I've been attacked for lines I didn't write, while the rage mob ignores the man who wrote the line. I have a vagina. Get over it." Okay then. You'll also notice that some of these tweets are very recent, so yeah. This Jamie lady, who's in her mid-40s by the way, with no husband and 2 stepdaughters, real premium cat lady material is what I'm saying, kind of had a meltdown over fans being vocal about woke translators ruining Japanese anime dubs in order to push agendas. I covered this controversy recently in my Asmongold video, but the gist is that a lot of anime is being rewritten by woke activists in order to transform anime and manga in order to fit their viewpoints. And of course, all of this doesn't get the go-ahead at places like Crunchyroll without cat lady Jamie Marchi's final say. She is, for the sake of simplicity, the Kathleen Kennedy of anime translations. That's really the easiest way to explain it. If you watch something from Crunchyroll and don't like how things are very pro-feminist and anti-man, there's a very good chance it's because Jamie Marchi has her midlife crisis hands all over it to some degree. There's also this clip from an anime convention where Jamie Marchi, who's a part of the My Hero Academia cast, was asked during a con about women getting unfairly targeted and women in the industry in general. So here's that long clip. Also, sorry about the quality of it, but anyway, here we go.
It's a stroll of power, and I appreciate it.
Well, I'm kind of scared to ask this question now because I don't want to bring down the room. So
okay.
This is more directed at Jamie, but all of you can answer.
Go,
all of
Jamie,
you
go. I'm
have,
excited
like,
about it. I'm ready to
input
bring
on
down the
this.
room. Let's do it.
We need a spotlight.
So
on
Funimation
Jamie.
has come under, let's call it, criticism for how they choose to adapt their scripts for
like
a couple
unnecessary
of shows.
hate. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, and a lot of that I feel is directed at you unfairly.
Thank you.
So how would you like to respond to that kind of criticism?
To the
particularly-
criticism, like, I have a vagina. Deal with it. Like, it's honestly, that's the truth. I am a woman. I am a funny woman. We are all talented, funny, powerful women. We are out here. It's going to happen. Deal with it. I'm sorry you're not getting laid. It's not about you. Move on. That's my reaction.
All right.
There were a lot of
Just how
very
it is.
angry Reddit comments that winter.
But thank you. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
I think you nailed it.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to say that.
She does? Yes.
Hello.
You get a lot of hate online.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
I'm
And-
sorry, I
but
didn't
also
hear the question,
like,
and she just told me that happened.
oh yeah, we'll talk about it later. But here's my feeling: anytime I make if I'm making misogynists and Nazis angry, then I'm doing all right. Because we don't, I mean, honestly, we don't want them associated with our fandom. They are not representative of us, and they will stand out and try to own this fandom. And I'm like, you don't realize these are amazing people with lots of backgrounds and lots of different cultures and just an amazing array of strength and power within them, and you do not represent the people I know. Mm-hmm. So just, I feel strongly about it.
And as you can see, Jamie, instead of trying to understand where her audience is coming from, just lumps them all into the same group, calling them virgins who are Yahtzees, which is another way of calling people the Nazi word. But this is YouTube, so I don't want to say that word because censorship is stupid. Jamie hates her male fans pretty much. She only likes you if you agree with her 100% on everything down to the last degree. Essentially, what Jamie has done at Crunchyroll is very much like Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm. These two women have effectively turned their respective corners of entertainment into tight-knit echo chambers. And anyone who speaks out against these ideologies is targeted, located, and then excommunicated from their industry. Meaning, largely speaking, a lot of the people around KK or Jamie are probably just agreeing with them so that they can pay their bills. Jamie could say Crunchyroll should open male-only concentration camps, and her employees would likely just nod their heads while their backs emit buckets of sweat, hoping Jamie doesn't notice. Because Jamie is a monster, and she's being rightfully dragged by the anime and manga community for her insane politics, which again are no doubt supercharged by the fact that she's a woke corporate woman with a failed marriage in her belt. But what are you gonna do, I guess? And it also doesn't help when Jamie Marchi on January 1st, 2024 decided to expose, for whatever reason, that most script adapters at Crunchyroll don't even speak or understand Japanese to begin with. Which I mean, what? How can you, as the director of dubs, just openly admit how incompetent you are? So not only are their dubs filled with woke nonsense, which is ruining content, but you're hiring people who don't understand the language they're supposed to adapt? Well, no wonder this entire situation is a dumpster fire. If I had to guess, Jamie was probably 2 wine boxes deep on her couch while her cats were crawling all over her. And she decided to expose herself thinking that it was a gotcha somehow. But this is who is running your entertainment. You have a man-hating single middle-aged woman who wants to kill all men controlling the dubs of your beloved anime, and Star Wars has long been drowning in apathy due to the feminist agenda. And now, instead of course correcting, Disney will double down and make it even worse. Sweet Jesus, dear viewer, 2024 has only begun and the slop is already premium levels of quality. What do you think episode 10 will be called? The Legacy of Skywalker? The Wine Box Returns? All Men Must Die? I guess we'll see. And Jamie Marchi needs to be removed because it's clear that her online responses to fans will do nothing but make people reject Crunchyroll, and it'll just lose them millions in subs if this keeps going. But this is what happens when you hire woke feminist activists. You get shitty translations and people who have no business directing blockbusters in positions of power. The epitome of failing upward, dear viewer, and the end is nowhere in sight. Things may seem bleak, but I present to you another way of looking at all of this. Just sit down with me, relax, and let's laugh as it all burns. Because in the face of tragedy, mankind really only has one thing that can help us. It's not hope, by the way, it's comedy. So I hope this video made you chuckle, laugh, or possibly even scream a couple of times. Don't you love being alive in 2024? Just be thankful you're not a cat wine mom feminist, because things could always be worse, I guess. Anyways, as always, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it to help the channel out. Thanks to my patrons for their support, and have a wonderful day. We are living in a comedy, and things are going to get goofy this year, so let's have some fun, and I'll see you in the next one.